Are you ever really frustrated? Like, life should look different, should be going different, should be maybe easier. Well, today in this video, I'm going to share a concept that can completely transform your life. And basically, what I'm going to show you is how to use radical optimism to help you transform your life, get the results you want, and be happier beyond your wildest dreams, right? And we're also going to go through a little bit of, exactly what that looks like. We're going to talk about what radical optimism is and how you can do that, and then give you a good idea of how that transforms your life, like what to expect when you do this. I feel like it's very important for us psychologically to kind of get a good idea of why and the how. And by the way, if you're new here, my name is Gavin. This is Blissflowly. Welcome. If you would like to have your life be more in flow, you would like to be happy regardless of what appears to be showing up in your life, and kind of, master your emotions and make the most of your life, that's what we do here. That's what I teach. And, I really want to take concepts and make them experiential. I want to take spiritual things you've learned and look at how you can apply it and raise it. Talk about some things from a different angle. Okay. So welcome. And today's topic again is radical optimism. Okay. Now let's take a look at what that means. Okay. There's some negative connotations to the word, radical. It means extreme, right? To the highest degree. And, most people have an idea of what optimism is that no matter what happens, that you stay positive, that you understand that, things could get better, that you stay consistent, you stay the course. Optimism is really focusing on the good at all times, okay? And really a big part of what I teach is that it's all good. It's one of my favorite sayings. Yet our perceptions, how we think things should go, don't always line up with that. And then we judge it and we usually stop or quit or get stuck in fear and failure. But all the while, everything is actually helping you get to where you want to go, which is a big clue on how, beneficial radical optimism is for you. So let's go deeper. Most people look at optimism as, okay, positive thinking. Like I said, a lot of the things I just said, staying the course. Yet, really, from a higher level, radical optimism is this massive allowing of what unfolds without needing it to look a certain way, which then leads to a very, deep level of trust, okay? That what is happening was supposed to happen and that we're not frustrated that it looked a different way. And it's this intense trust in the universe, in God, in love, that everything is an opportunity to awaken. Everything is an opportunity to return to source. Everything is bringing us home, okay? And so when you start looking at everything completely positively, as it knowing that it has your highest good, that it was supposed to happen, that it was meant to happen, that I understand even that concept is triggering for a lot of people because it's like, what do you mean supposed to or meant to or scripted? Like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't want this to happen. I didn't want that to happen to this person. I didn't want to lose my job. I didn't want to struggle financially. I didn't want to be divorced. There's a long list of things that, like, when, people like me say stuff like that, it's like, that our ego, what I would call like our lower self is, can kind of have judgments around that and not, easily be triggered on that. So what happens and why it's so important is that when you catch yourself having judgment, when you catch yourself being negative, when you catch yourself complaining, then you're realizing you're not being optimistic. And that's what this whole thing is, right? Is that you have this awareness. And I felt like on my spiritual journey is like, how can I apply this? What am I missing? And I would say, this is a very simple concept, is when you're aware of what radical optimism is, then you can start becoming aware when you're not being that, when you're complaining, when you're negative. So again, the power of this is it has you recognize how you think. It has you see where you're stuck. It has you, become aware when you aren't feeling good, when you're negative, when you're not in joy, you're not in love, you're not in abundance, okay? So that's what takes us from this concept to the experience of application. This is how you can start living blissfully, is when you go into your day with the intention to look at everything as your highest good, to not judge it, to not think when somebody does something that what that means, and to allow it to happen. You're then coming from such a level of trust that everything's working out for your highest good. And you don't have to worry. You don't have to have the fear. You're just paying attention. And you're focused on staying positive. You're focused on staying in a good place. You're focused on being in a higher vibration, right? And here's the next part. This is what happens. Like, how does this transform your life? Like, what is this going to mean for me when I do this? I just gave you some things, but you become, number one, very aware. You start noticing how you're feeling. And if you don't ever notice that you're feeling stuck or fearful or angry, or you're judging somebody, or you're complaining, you can't shift that. You can't change that. And therefore, you're just in that pattern, right? And just repeating it over and over. So when you practice something like radical optimism throughout your day and have it become a part of your life, you become very aware. It's also going to help you stop negative patterns. You're going to notice when you're in your loop, when you're you find yourself in the same job and the same people, or your bank account, you look at that and it's the same way. You're going to, kind of look at that and be like, oh my gosh, like this, I'm doing this again. How can I look at my bank account and be like, oh my gosh, look at all the things that I have. Look at my abundance. And that you're able to shift onto the focus of optimism, of positivity, of knowing everything is working out, rather than getting stuck and staying in that darkness, okay? So you get to jump out of your negative patterns, again, with that awareness, okay? Number 3, it really is a perfect way to help you stay in the moment. It's kind of like, be in the present moment. Well, how? Our mind kind of wants to focus on something. Our mind at first on this journey needs something to do, so it can see what it looks like to be that, okay? Well, this is a great thing to do, is to have the intention that you're going to be radically optimistic, okay? And when you're doing that, when you're thinking that, you're in the moment. You're in the moment of trust, of allowing, of the witnesser of what's showing up in that moment, okay? Number 4, again, with all those 3 things I just said, that's what flow looks like. Flow is the natural essence of all the good that's in store for you lining up and flowing to you, and you're flowing with it. And, I love the analogy of, being on an inner tube down the river. You're just kind of witnessing what goes by. The river's taking you where you go. You're not needing to really do anything. Every once in a while, you might need to kick your feet or steer a little bit and just kind of get back on course. Maybe just a little bit of, an eye on the what's, coming and stuff. But it's all right in that moment. It's all right now. And it's natural. You're not fighting anything. When you get in a stream, like if you're trying to paddle upstream and it's like you want to go back up where it was, it's not going to work well, right? And that's what we do with our life, is that we fight against it. We fight against the current, and we wonder why it's such a struggle, okay? Well, when you're in radical optimism, you're in the flow. You're just allowing it to go. And yes, you might take some in the moment actions to maybe, breathe while you're in the flow. You might witness some things where like, oh, I should try to avoid this rock, or I need to raise my behind and not get this bump, or, whatever. It doesn't mean like you don't pay attention to this world at all, but it's just a trust. Okay. And then the positive focus helps you stay out of judgment. It helps you stay out of illusion, and it helps you stay out of fear. You cannot, one of my favorite things to say is, you can't be sad when you're happy. You just can't. You can't be negative when you're expressing love, when you're feeling love. You're going to feel love, right? And you can't be in illusion, you can't be in judgment, you can't be in fear when you're being extremely optimistic. When you're just like, you're ascending, you're growing. When the things that used to trigger you and really upset you and frustrate you, that you just observe them and go, it's not that big of a deal. And I don't know why that happened. I'm not necessarily maybe a fan, but I'm neutral about it. I'm just going to let it happen. And I'm not going to let that affect this moment. I'm not going to let it affect my day. I'm not going to, let that be what gets me into a spiral. And so this process is going to help you not be in judgment, not get caught up in the illusion of that this world has any ability to keep you from your bliss. I'll be saying this over and over. We as humans like to think that if we do certain things, then we'll be happy. That's completely conditional. It's completely backwards. And that's the number one thing that I will be teaching from many different angles is our happiness is within. You are happiness. And we are shedding the layers of what we think are keeping us from our happiness and our joy and our abundance. And we're swimming through those. We're breaking through those. We're letting them go. We're detaching because it is here right now in this moment. And when you're optimistic, you feel that. You remember. You trust that you're receiving the guidance that you're craving, that you're asking for. And when you're being optimistic, then you can actually see the guidance. You can see the signs. You can see what the universe is trying to tell you. You can get the answers that are right in front of you that you're not paying attention to. Okay? So, a quick review on this. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, would love for you to subscribe. I'm going to help you live your purpose, live your best life, and be happy. And so you can enjoy the journey. It's no fun going to the mountaintop if it was just like no fun to get there. Like that you get to enjoy the process. So many people want to manifest and they miss like the whole process of like their power and like what they've learned and the growth and the healing, right? So we'll be talking about manifesting, but radical optimism is a form of manifesting. It's one of the how-tos because you're not attaching to need something to then happen so you can be happy. And a mind-blowing thing on this is when you have that attachment, in the manifestation world, that is actually blocking you from it. When you're coming from need, that's coming from lack. That's actually like blocking it. So when you're, letting go of that attachment, you're practicing that optimism. So, in review to tie this up, when you want to transform your life, you cannot continue to do things the way that you've been doing it. You can't expect different results with the same thinking, the same feelings, the same actions, right? So try it. try going into your day after your meditation, set, an intention, say a prayer that I am going to be radically optimistic today. Not just optimistic, like to the extreme. Almost maybe other people would find it annoying. See how that makes you feel. See how you become aware. See how you notice when you're in judgment or fear or illusion. See how, it really makes you feel like you're in the flow. And then see how you're going to see like your day's going to go better. The people that usually annoy you won't annoy you, or they'll treat you differently. And that would be because you're not judging them. You're not sending out this energy. You're actually accepting them and seeing the best in them. You're being radically optimistic. So what you think that you're seeing out there is really coming from internally of your past and what you believe life to be, what you believe other people to be. When you see the optimism in them, they're going to change. So it's pretty cool. Whole nother video more on that. But I have a free community called Blissflowly. You can go to blissflowly.com and sign up. It's new. I haven't really, on this date, whenever you're watching this video, I haven't really been putting it out there that much. And I'm putting it out there now. So there's a course in there, but it's really here to support one another on this spiritual journey so we can awaken together, we can ascend together, we can remember who we really are together, all right? So like this, comment, you have questions. Do you have a topic you would like me to go through? Or is there something that I said that you don't quite understand? Leave a comment, ask a question. I am here for you. I'm doing this because this is what I want to learn, and I have learned so much that I want to share. So I wish I would have had this years ago. You can enjoy your job right now. You can enjoy where you are right now, even if it's not where you want to be. Okay. So much love, my friend. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, like. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.